Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to give you a nice introduction into high-speed liquid photography, which will be the subject for this module, which module 9. And it's the last module, so the photographs that you make for this assignment will probably be used for your final exam. So scroll down into the bottom of the module and you'll find the requirements for the final exam. And just keep these photos as a reference for you to get inspiration from for your final project. Now I just wanted to show you some of the best examples out there in the industry, and we have a couple of photographers here really taking high-speed liquid photography up to a new level, more than just what you would see as your basic advertisement, and really a concept, self-motivated, concept-driven type of photography, which is really great to see in the industry. Now, the photographers that we're going to be looking at are Alex Kovaski and Tim Tadler, and you're going to be seeing some of their photos today. Now, before we look at their photos, though, I just want to kind of show you some of the images and describe to you the techniques that are being used for this type of photography. So, to get started, you'll see a lot of images like this, and it's a type of image that you would see all over the advertisement market. I mean, anything that has to do with liquid photography are really photographed in a way similar to this, where you see just liquid flying around the photo, either falling into glasses or hitting a product, and splashes are blowing up everywhere. It really drives the viewer's attention to the product, and it catches their attention really quickly with some cool photography. So you got to remember, there's a lot of the market for food is drinks and liquids. Even like yogurt can be considered a liquid. So there's just a huge market for this, and being such a huge market, you need a lot of eye-grabbing photos to catch the customer's attention, because there's so many different brands out there, and it's hard for customers to choose which brand would be the best. So oftentimes the marketers will use the most stunning image possible to grab the customer's attention. So that's where high-speed liquid photography comes in. So just to give you some technical instruction on these kind of photos, we're going to be looking at mainly two types of lighting when we're talking about photographing liquids and glasses or transparent subjects. And they're called dark field and bright field lighting. Now this is an example of bright field lighting. When I say bright field lighting, I mean that the background is bright and the holding lines, or the lines on the outside of the subject, are dark. So this is a good example of bright field lighting. We can see that there's a nice white background, and outlining the subject are these nice, beautiful, dark black lines, which adds a lot of contrast in the image, but it also serves another purpose. Remember that these subjects are transparent. They're see-through. And so without these outside lines, or without these holding lines, we would not be able to see the subject against the background. It would just be invisible to us, or it just wouldn't look very nice if we could see it. So photographers have been able to employ a technique, and this technique is called bright field and dark field lighting. It adds outlines to the transparent subject. And it's based on two things. It's based on light hitting the subject at a specific angle, and a specific camera angle which is chosen by the photographer. And we'll go more in depth on that in the future videos. You can see, again, a perfect example of bright field lighting. We have nice dark holding lines on the outside of the subject, and on the outside of the liquid here, you can see on the bubbles, there's nice dark holding lines on the outside of those bubbles and splashes. Also, the photographer has added another light to give another reflection to the front of the glass. This is really important to give shape and also to light the foreground. Without that, fill light in the front, this foreground might be very dark. This would be a good example of dark field lighting. It's exactly the opposite. Instead of a white background in bright field lighting, we now have a black background in dark field lighting. And instead of black holding lines outlining the subject, we have white holding lines. It is really not that big of a difference technically. They're very easy to make. Once you are able to make one, you should be easily able to make the other without even changing the camera or the lighting position. So this is another example of what a concept that you would see in the marketing field a lot, where it's a food dropping into a tank of water, only the photographer doesn't photograph the tank. The tank is transparent, so you're able to see through it. So now it's a very abstract image of just a food falling through water, and you see all the bubbles and splashes as it falls down. You see this a lot, and we can show it to you in a few examples that we have here in this presentation. So when you look at these images, think of their uses. I mean, we have this orange image of orange juice, and you could probably imagine seeing this image on the outside carton of an orange juice bottle, on an advertisement in the magazine about health or about the benefits of vitamin C. I mean, you can see this photo everywhere, I'm sure, and a photo like this as well. Maybe this would be an advertisement for cranberry juice or some type of juice. Here's another example of a product in a fish tank, only you don't see the fish tank, so it just looks like a cool wave of water carrying the product, which happens to be this can. So this brings up the topic of this type of photography uses a lot of Photoshop. Now, this image is probably about 10 to 15 images. I'm just guessing, maybe less. But I know for sure, most likely, the can was photographed separately in the same lighting environment as the water, so probably in an empty fish tank. And then the water was added and some waves were added, and then those were photographed. And then the can was probably dropped into the water 10, 15 times, photographed each time, and the bubbles were probably extracted in Photoshop in post-production and placed around the can perfectly like this. So a good example of how Photoshop can be used to create one image out of multiple images. Another good example right here of a lot of post-production, but it's planned post-production. So, the photographer has to think, oh, I must photograph the bottle first, and then I'll photograph the glass, and then maybe I'll photograph the liquid pouring into the glass, and then maybe I'll buy, maybe 3 of these same glasses and drop all 3 of them, photograph them separately, and then take the pieces from maybe one picture and the pieces from another, and the pieces from another, or so on and so forth, and put together one complete image that looks its best. Much better than you could get in a single image, single take. Another type of image that you'll see a lot, and I'll try to deconstruct it for you. I'm going to guess that most likely these different objects were hung, probably using some string or some fishing line of some sort, some type of string or tape that would hang these items, and then they were photographed as water was being thrown at them in high-speed fashion. Okay, here we get to our first photographer, Alex Kolosky, and his images are really pioneering in the liquid splash photography area. You'll see him a lot if you Google search this type of imagery. He runs a site on how to instruct other students on how to photograph these type of images, and he's got a great portfolio. So have a look at his work. He's really a great photographer. And you can see that he's having a lot of fun with the water splashes. And to break down these images, they're most likely photographed multiple times, multiple different splashes. And then with Photoshop, they're placed together to make it look like there's a butterfly. So you can see in his portfolio that he really enjoys splash photography employing a lot of different concepts and ideas in this type of photography. So this image looks a lot like a flower. And here we get into more of like the product application. So it's not just food that will use this type of photography. Remember, high-speed liquid photography is really great for anything liquid. Perfumes are liquid, creams are liquid, deodorant, everything that you can imagine for personal care and personal hygiene usually is liquid. Mouthwash, shampoo. I mean, there's just tons of things that liquid photography would be used for, high-speed liquid photography, perfume being one of them. So when you go about your high-speed photography yourself, it's important to remember concepts. What are the concepts that you're trying to show in your picture? It's important to have ideas before you start making high-speed liquid photographs. You're not going to just start throwing water or milk or whatever, yogurt around the studio. It's important to have a reason why you're throwing milk, liquid, or water out of the studio, and that's where good ideas come. So I don't know exactly how many takes, how many photographs this is of liquid flying around, but I can imagine it's a lot, probably more than, maybe more than 10, maybe more than 20 images to make this one picture. Again, a lot of images to create this one picture. Probably, probably 10 or more. But the outcome is really cool, and it makes him really unique and really stand out much more than the average person that just throws water in front of his camera or throws yogurt or colored liquid or whatever. You have to remember that this type of photography, as well with every type of photography, has been done a million times by a million different people, and some of those people have good ideas and some of those people just follow what everyone else is doing. So it's really important to come to the studio with good ideas. This picture is really showing what can be done with the techniques that you'll learn in the video below. So be sure to watch that video and you can learn how to do this type of picture. He has a large portfolio, so there's a lot of pictures to look through when you go to his website. There's a lot of stuff you can learn from a photographer like this. He's one of the rare photographers that has a lot of skill and is willing to give that out to students. Okay, this image made a lot of press when he created it, as well as there's a nice little video below the demonstration video that shows you how he did it, which is really cool. I don't know how many images it is, but it's a lot. I think probably about 10, 15, or 20 images. So really cool photo and great concept, and I'm sure Google loved it. So. Okay, I hope Alex gave you some ideas for your final project. Now, we're going to look at another application that doesn't really have anything to do with what you'll create in your final project, but it is a cool thing that you can do with high-speed liquid photography. And this is Tim Tadler's series. It's titled Water Wigs. And so he created this series to make it look like these models had hair that was water. And he did it in a really cool way by putting balloons on top of their heads and then exploding them and photographing it with high, using the same techniques that you're going to be using to photograph food. So it's the same technique, but used in a different application, in a different concept. And he became very popular through this concept, and deservingly so. It's a great idea, a great concept, and it makes people stare at the images, and it makes people surprised when they see them. And I believe if you go on the internet, if you would like to, there's a great video that shows how he does this in action, which is pretty cool to see. So go check that out if you want to. So I'm not expecting you to do something like this for your final project. Please don't actually. Keep it to food-related products. But it does, inspire you to, see that this can be used in all different types of photography, not just food-related photography. Really cool. I wonder if this is one shot. I'm gonna expect that it is one shot, and I think if it is one shot, then he deserves an award to get a balloon, or sorry, some gum that the model was chewing, and he blew a bubble with the gum and then exploded the water right at the perfect moment. I think if this is one shot, it's amazing. All the rest of these are one shots, so not a lot of Photoshop going on here except for color correction and retouching. If you watch the video, you can see him do it. It's really, really quite amazing. Okay, so that's it for this lesson, and please go down and watch the demonstration videos below. It'll show you how to do this technique, and remember that the technique that you're learning is for the lighting is called dark field and bright field lighting. And dark field is for a black background with white outlines, and bright field is for a bright or light background with dark outlines. That is the goal that we're going to be achieving for our lighting patterns and setups for our images that we're going to be making for this assignment. So pay careful attention and make sure that you do have nice black outlines or white outlines on your subject and the opposite background. So, all right, I will see you in class. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please watch the other videos. I know you will enjoy those. I'll talk to you later.